Hello, hello, hello. We are getting going here. And give it just a couple seconds. I think that's about good. What is going on? You are watching and, of course, listening to Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition, where we're here every Wednesday night on the Crowdcast platform. I am your host, Stevie V. This is episode 650. Alongside, on the eve of spring, is my partner in crime, Kodi Maurice Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling. I'm doing wonderful. Is it the eve of spring?
Spring is tomorrow.
Oh, is that anything like summer's eve?
I hope not. We won't be talking about on that on this show, but super excited for spring this particular year. As it's, we've been talking about it on how cold it's been in our parts and really across the country and everywhere. And so, I am just so happy for spring.
Me too. My parts are
Yeah.
getting warm and I'm getting excited.
Absolutely. Well, a little bit later on this show, we are welcoming our very special guest, returned guest, Finn Deerhart, to the show, who's going to be talking about an upcoming workshop here in New York City on April 13th that I will be a part of as well. And we are going to talk all about fantasy and sexuality and how fantasy works within you. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be really good. Um,
Juicy.
yeah, really juicy, really good. I just want to remind you all that you can always go to our Patreon page. And when you go to our Patreon page, you get extra special, sexy content when you subscribe and grab a tier. And next week, we are doing our bonus episode, things you won't hear on Tag's podcast. And I will be talking about open relationships on there. I will be
Oh,
talking about my upcoming wedding, and I'm going to be giving insights as the countdown goes until my wedding. So you want to check that out, and you can only get that if you grab a tier. And know that when you grab a tier, you're supporting Tag's podcast. But don't fret, you can grab a free tier as well. And when you grab a free tier, you get behind the scenes content that you won't get on any of our social media. And one of the things that I posted just yesterday was my fiance and I cooking up an Italian feast that we did.
oh,
And yeah, we cooked up gnocchi, and Diego cooked way too much gnocchi for us, and we ate it all up. But we kind of give
oh,
you the
wow.
recipe. Yeah, it was really delicious. It was really good, and we gave our little secrets on how you can take gnocchi that you buy, and what was the sauce that we used? Bolognese sauce, and how you can spruce it up and make it just a little bit more special. So check that out, and it's free. Go to patreon.com/tags podcast. Grab the free tier, but while you're there, consider grabbing a tier to support Tags Podcast. Patreon.com/tags podcast. Well, let's get into some hot topics. And sadly, here in New York, one of the most iconic bars in my neighborhood, Barracuda, after 30 years of being in business, announced that it is going to be closing this week. And they have always done so many great drag shows. I've gone there with you, actually, Kodi, over the
Yeah.
years. And one of the reasons why the owners gave reasons why they are closing is because on they're on 22nd Street here in Chelsea, but on 23rd Street, one of the most iconic movie theaters that has been here since I lived here, but actually closed a couple of years ago. We're talking a huge Cineplex closed. And now, guess what, Kodi? It's going to be a huge high rise condominium, surprise, surprise, or not so surprising. And they share a back wall to Barracuda. Well,
Oh,
it's
wow.
been their construction for demolishing the movie theater and getting ready to build up this new condominium that has actually caused a lot of havoc and actually really caused a lot of destruction to their stage. And that is one of the reasons why they're actually closing, is because they can't operate under the current construction that has been going on. Now, that's all what the owners of Barracuda gave in their explanation as to why they're closing.
Mhm.
It's not, I would think they would have a lawsuit on their hands, basically, but we don't know all the details of it. But if they're saying this, and we all know what's really going on in the world right now with gentrification and people putting up high-rise buildings left and right, does this surprise you that we're losing one of our bars in the age of gentrification and high-rise buildings?
No, I feel like it was just kind of inevitable, and I feel like this it's really just a shame that this bar is losing its space, and just because of, I don't know, maybe it's noise from the construction, but I can't imagine that because the construction wouldn't be going on at night. But so I would really like to pick their brain about why actually they are closing because of this renovation that's been going on. So,
Well, what they say actually is the wall of the theater that actually they share with their bar, because they're on 22nd Street. The
mhm.
huge complex is on 23rd Street. And it's because of all of the construction to demolish the building that has caused destruction to their building on
Oh,
22nd Street, including their stage where they do drag performances. So they're saying physical damage has actually occurred
aha.
because of the demolition and because of the new construction of the new condominium. What do you
They
have to say with that?
definitely have a lawsuit going on, so they need to get some lawyers because that's ridiculous. Because of the destruction, and they can't actually work. Then they definitely have some things, and they need to exercise this because people need to be things like this, the gentrification. They need to know that we are not going to take it lying down, and we're not going to take the closing of our businesses just willy nilly. We're not going to roll over for them. So I hope they really do their due diligence and get some legal help on this.
Yeah, sadly, I think it's too late and they are actually closing. Diego and I ran into one of the bar managers just the other day, and he was in tears as we were walking
Oh,
by him. It's closing for good. I
it
don't
really
think
was
that
an
they are
institution.
fighting. I don't think they're fighting it. I think that the damage has already been done. And, when you're competing against big business, of a huge conglomeration, huge investors types, and you're the small business that has been there for 30 years, but yet you don't really have a name in all of this. It's
Mhm.
sad that we're losing him left and right. And so, they have 30 years under their belt, and we salute the small business. But yeah, it's just sad when I was sad when I lost the movie theater because it was my go-to movie theater. It's my favorite
Yeah,
movie
I
theater.
used to love going there.
Yeah, we've been there together, and then a local bar as well, only for a huge condominium. It's like, really?
Do we really
Shame?
need more of those? I
We
don't know.
don't. The answer is no, we don't. But people would disagree with us, I am sure. Let's move on. And what I am calling Angry Men Online. And there's two stories that comprise this next story.
Is this
One of
about
them
me?
has.
Is this an intervention?
I don't think you're that angry, but you tell me after you hear these stories, after a man in Russia is suing Apple, claiming that iPhone turned him gay. Okay, hear me out. He says this comes after an incident
I'm gonna
involving
spit on my
gay.
drink.
He claims that after an incident involving gay coin cryptocurrency, we all know about cryptocurrency, but this was a gay coin cryptocurrency. He says he suffered moral harm. He is asking for 1 million rubles because this is in Russia. And he claims that homosexuality was, he actually says that he actually went on there to get cryptocurrency, but actually it was a gay coin cryptocurrency that actually told him to lured him into getting onto this and cryptocurrency. So he invested in the gay cryptocurrency. He claims that he ended up getting a gay boyfriend out of it. So he became gay, and he's been with this boyfriend now for a while, but now he's suing Apple because he was lured into being gay. I mean, in the HELL of it all, what do you have to say to this?
So, first of all, is this how you get a boyfriend these days? Because I'm in the market for one right now, and I just have to buy the gay coin in order to get a boyfriend? Is that how it's
Right.
done? Because he seems pretty happy, besides the fact that he has this moral dilemma, quote unquote. So I don't know. I'm gonna give me some gay coin, and I'll be back, okay? And I'll let you know how it goes.
Got it.
But I think that it's just ridiculous. The real brainwashing here is the Russian government for spreading this information that you can actually be gay in this way. This is how you become gay, is by buying Bitcoin or gay coin or what have you. This man was always he always had the proclivities to be gay or homosexual or bisexual or whatever he is, because I don't know how he defines. And this whole thing just seems completely ludicrous to me. I'm just really jealous and upset over here that he has a boyfriend that he does not want, and I don't. I'm upset.
Staying on topic with angry men online and angry men that have a boyfriend but they don't want Kodi, comes our next story from
Good segue.
a Texas man that allegedly Googled, quote unquote, "Can I kill an illegal human?" before murdering his immigrant boyfriend and staging it as a suicide. This was 31-year-old Houston, Texas man named Ty Vaughn, who's been charged with murder after allegedly killing his immigrant boyfriend. So he was with the guy, Kodi. He shot him in the head with a rifle and then propped him up and acted like he had committed suicide. And like I said, was found with authorities that he had Googled, "Can I kill an illegal human?" because his boyfriend was not illegal to this country. I mean, again, what in the HELL, Kodi?
Again, another man with a boyfriend that doesn't want him. And this is ridiculous. I'm sorry. First, let's start with the picture of them together. One of them has on a shirt that says, "Pound my throat," and the other one has a picture of this says "throat pounder." They couldn't find any like happier pictures of them together that are more family friendly. They
I
had to get
know.
I mean, I want the shirts, but
I
I don't want to be
mean,
eulogized in them. So that's the first thing for me. What are you gonna say?
I think it's, aside from the shirts, I mean, sometimes couples have those, cute. I think they were right on target with one of them, like wanted to be a throat pounder and the other one wanted to be throat pounded. So
Cute,
they
adorable.
seem to fit. This looks like they're taking a picture, audience. For those, I'll post this on TAGSPodcast, reference episode 650, but they're taking a selfie in the mirror together that looks like, for all intents and purposes, they are a happy couple, and they're taking just a simple selfie like many couples always do. I don't know what went into, other than he's from Texas, sorry, Texas, but that he lost his mind and decided to kill his and Google. And there's the evidence, allegedly, that he decided to. Are we going to become one of those podcasts that true crime podcasts now
Oh
with
my
some of these
God, can you
topics? I mean,
imagine? Like only murders in the building?
we might have to have the new podcast version of this, the other side of the show. But I mean, I just think how disgusting in the climate that we are in, that a white man would even be with a Latino like this and then turn on him, Google this, and actually allegedly murder him. But it's all looking like that's what happened. And in the name of sanity, I just think, I hope he gets what is coming to him, because
Yeah,
it's
I agree
that
with you.
his that man that he was with had a family and had friends, and it's just so sad to think that he tried to pin this on him, allegedly, as we are reporting.
I agree with you. I think that you have to be careful with who you lay with. You have to do your due diligence as far
Yeah,
as vetting them, because sometimes people really hold hate in their heart, no matter who they're laying with.
yeah.
I think it's incredibly saddening because the phrase, "Can I kill an illegal human?" to me,
Oh,
that denotes that he thought he was better than his partner. He thought that he could lord over his life. So I think that's completely disgusting. I feel like he should go
Lost
under
his
the
mind.
jail. He lost his mind a long time ago when he thought that he was better than another human being. So I think that this is it's not, and it's not the first time that he mentioned it to his boyfriend. From what I understand, he would mention it a lot to people that his boyfriend wasn't illegal. So he
Ugh.
probably held it over his head and kind of fucked with his self-esteem. So he didn't get away with murder. He's not Annalise Keating, and I hope he goes under the jail.
I will be watching it on my Nat Geo show, like I referenced on the last episode, because this is going to be a,
Girl,
yeah.
no zebras.
All right. Well, speaking of last
Empress.
episodes, on episode 649, we were talking about what do you do to prepare for a date? And I asked the question to my co hosts, Lincoln and Kodi, and we were talking about what do you do to prepare for a date? Well, recently, Zach Zimmerman, who is a comedian who goes on tour, actually posted he was away from where he lives, and his comments about going on a date went viral. Gay comic goes viral after revealing his date canceled upon seeing the outfit he planned to wear. So Zach Zimmerman is the person we are talking about. He's an author. He's written a couple of books, and he talked about going on this particular date and decided to post it. Well, when he was talking to the guy that he was going to be going on the date, the guy asked him, "Hey, what's the dress code for tonight?" He said, "I'm pretty much a goober," the date's words. And Zimmerman indicated that, "Hey, no problem. I'm thinking about wearing shorts." He then proceeded to joke that, "I'm going to be wearing shorts and a sombrero." We all know the Mexican sombrero thing that everybody can wear. In which case, the date said, "Really? You're wearing a sombrero?" Well, that prompted Zach Zimmerman to post a video just to probably alleviate to his date that, "No, I'm not really wearing that." But he posted a video of himself saying, "Here's what I'm going to wear." You saw the video, Kodi. It's
I did.
basically a plaid shirt, a black t-shirt underneath, the sleeves rolled up, some khaki beige shorts, and what he's calling his workout shoes and socks, because he was not at home and that's all he packed. What do you say about what he posted to wear based on what we were talking about preparing for a date on episode 649?
Well, it was a mess. I'm not. I understand why the guy said that he would rather not go on a date with him. He said he was still
Well,
down to
he
get.
ghosted him. He basically ghosted him.
Well, he said that he was still down to get a drink, but he said that they're not a match, actually. So I think that was very kind of him, because for me, if you go out looking like a toddler on a school day, like at a private school, that's not my vibe. That's not the move for me. So I'm not going to want to go out on a date with you. We can be friends. I might have to help you with your fashions if we're friends, but
Yeah. In the sake
no
of
go.
time, I gotta agree with you. I mean, I
Yeah.
think Zach Zimmerman has a good sense of humor, but it did go viral. It didn't go viral for the right reasons in many ways. People were coming for Zach because of his poor choice, in their words, of what he chose to put together. And the choice, I think, the overall thing that we were talking about in our meeting before the show was, I would never send, if I'm going to go on a date with you and somebody asks me what's the dress code, I'll tell you casual, this or that. If they say they're going to wear this, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to be wearing da 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 da. It's not going to be shorts and it's not going to be gym crap at all. You can wear whatever you want, but we might not go beyond all that. I would not send a video or a picture of what I'm look like ahead of the date, because that opens up the door to judgment. And I don't want to be
Oh,
judged before I even go on the date. And that was his big mistake. I think he should have sent that to him. I think we often, people don't look at people's feet when you go. I do, but people don't. And I think we got too much information and too much insight into Zach to say cancel the date. And yeah.
I hear you. I don't necessarily agree, because I do feel like that would open up to him being rejected in the moment, like when he saw what he was wearing. So, but that's neither here nor there. We both have our individual preferences on this.
Absolutely. And at this time, we want to know how you weigh in. We just invited our special guest to the main stage
Lovely
here,
guest.
Finn Deerhart, and we are going to be talking about an upcoming. Hello, Finn. Can you hear us? Hi.
Yes. Can you hear me?
We can
Yes,
hear
we
you
can.
wonderfully. Welcome to Tags Live. Welcome back, I should actually say.
Yeah.
And thank you for making time for us, because you literally just got out of a session.
Yes.
Finn, as many of us know, is an AASECT certified sexuality counselor. What does that mean? He's an American
XYZ.
Association of Sexuality Educator, Counselor, and Therapist. Counselor of sexuality, and he is involved in a workshop here in New York City that he's going to be talking about in a minute on Sunday, April 13th from 9:30 to 4:30. I will be there. It is called Follow the Flame: Using Sexual Fantasy for Personal Growth. Finn, welcome to Tags Live.
Hi, thank you.
Absolutely.
I
Well,
passed
I
the
guess
tech challenge. I passed it. I did it. I did all the buttons right. Like,
You're pressing buttons great today, boo.
oh man.
Absolutely. Wow. Well, Finn, I got to start out. I love you dearly. We've known each other for a long time. I was recently working with Vakaya Cruise, where somebody that you work with, Court Vox, was on this particular cruise. And one of the things that we were talking about on the cruise I was on was the importance of group interaction and group exploration. And we got together. I was managing a group of people. I had 10 people, but there was other groups, and it was erotic core themes that Court had set up. Many of them were called things like longing and anticipation, violating prohibitions, power and control, transformation and transcendence, playing roles. Mine, which was surrender and abandon, and lastly, exhibition and voyeurism. And what was really cool about these groups, as we broke up into groups of 10, and I led the one that I just mentioned, was that people got to speak up. People got to explore in a group setting what we are feeling about some of these intimate groups. And we don't get to do that a lot. And why is this so important? The working in groups to explore some of these things, like in your upcoming seminar that's going to be happening on April 13th.
Plug. Well, before I answer that question, I just have to say, I need to say I love you back. I love you. I'm really grateful for y'all having me here again. And it's crucial that we talk to each other. I mean, it's actually called piercing the neurotic isolation, right? When you think like, I'm uniquely fucked up in the world. I can't share this with anyone. I must perform. I mean, this is like the crux of masculinity, you know? So
I'm fucked up, and
I am uniquely so fucked up. That's why people are like, why do you do sex counseling? I'm like, well, because I'm kind of neurotic, actually, because I really need a lot of help. And so I've had to go looking for the help that I need. We need to connect with people so that we can actually metabolize what it is that we're carrying inside. So there's like, saying something is one thing, but like saying it and feeling it with people helps you move that energy and helps you like go, oh, okay, I'm actually not alone, and get to feel that. It's, you can be at a dinner and be talking about stuff, but if you don't let that feeling in, you don't get to move that energy. So being in this kind of container or in a community where people are doing this work together, or like a group therapy or whatever, you're metabolizing stuff together where that process is happening. And then you're like, oh, I've been holding back on that, and I feel better now.
Yeah, I mean, if I could just follow up on that, Finn, how important is that now with what's going on in the world and country, where we can be in a group setting to know that we are okay, but to know that we're vulnerable as well?
100%. Yeah, it is. And for our nervous systems to kind of settle with each other and feel, like one of the reasons, guys, we have sex for many reasons. Clinically, there's like I think a study that was published that said there are 273 reasons people have sex, or it was either 237 or 273.
We'll take 273.
But we have sex.
A larger number, of course.
I was going to say, if you could do more, I'll do more. Thank you very much.
Well, or just like I just want to have sex. Period.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
We need to feel our nervous. So I was going to say some guys just have sex just to know they're not alone.
Yeah.
It's like a nervous system experience with another body to feel like, oh, like I am not alone in this world. I mean, it's like one of the core existential crises that humans face is like a sense of aloneness, and we cannot buffer that without connecting with others.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So that is very, very deep.
Well, and the way that we connect with people matters, right? So, like, if I go to a dinner, which I'm terrible at dinners, by the way. I use this example twice tonight. I do not go to fucking dinners, but like, I don't because I feel awkward, and it's because I carry a lot that I kind of want to connect with people about. And so, like, if there's like chatter and stuff, I'm like, I get socially nervous, and I'm not able to kind of like, just name like, I'm feeling really awkward here. That actually helps me a lot if I can walk in and be like, I feel really weird. I feel awkward.
I'm going to use that. I went to a dinner party with my fiance the last week, and it was one of the most awkward dinners ever, right? I'm looking at him right now. But for me, it was. And I wish I would have just said that at the forefront, because I don't really do well often in group settings like that at all, and I want to just like scream.
It's
you
terrible.
kind of get that little hurdle out of your way in the beginning, really.
Exactly. I have to. Because then otherwise you're sitting there trying to pretend that you're actually fine.
Yeah.
There's a considerable amount of energy going toward like trying to appear normal, which then makes me really weird.
Yes. Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned this. It makes me think of Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson's Scream. Like, I just want to scream. Yes. But go, Kodi. I know you got a lot of questions.
So, yeah, I just kind of switched the vibe just a little bit because this whole endeavor is about sexual fantasies. How can your sexual fantasies be a roadmap for your actual sexual life?
It looks like you read that right off of the event. Oh my God. Thank you for that.
I do my research, darling. And we're all about promotion, babe. So I figure I would just feed it right to you. In more ways
well, we change ourselves in our fantasies. Like we are every fantasy contains in it like material about us that we're trying to work through. So it contains like painful stuff about us that we're trying to overturn and ascend and like rise above. And it actually tells us the roadmap to get there. So we like often will see ourselves in our fantasies as a kind of like version of ourselves that might be more gregarious or more accepting of pleasure or more, comfortable with attention or more assertive or, or maybe we're a voyeur and we're watching other people do something in our fantasy, but those are still versions of us. And so maybe like we're like seeing parts of ourselves that we want to be and we want to step into and we don't know how, or, there's all kinds of reasons, but it's like an imagistic language of what you're working through in your life.
Okay.
I love that. Okay. Like your core pain, but also like your aspirations. Like what kind of like, for instance, like what's like one of your top fantasies?
Oh, me?
You.
I'm getting interviewed now. It's definitely public sex, and it's definitely being tied up or tying somebody. It's really tying somebody else up, really.
I love that. So what do you know about like tying people up? we're not gonna like go super deep into this if it's like super personal, but like what do you know about that? And you like, is it about control for you? Is it about
It's about control, definitely. I'm definitely a control freak.
And what do you like about controlling? Like what feels fun about that?
I'm not out of control. And that is a huge crux for me. For me, being out of control, it feels like hell. It feels like the worst place that I can be at. It's very uncomfortable. It's a place that I just don't like to go to. I like to be in control.
Okay, so perfect. So with that, this is the kind of stuff we're going to do at this workshop. Okay, the reason I'm asking,
I want to go now.
Oh, you should go. Well, because it's like, okay, so if you were to, something about that in yourself, a lot of guys don't have a clue. They just think, I don't know, it's hot. So the thing is, then you might like have an experience where you try to tie somebody up, but you're not letting yourself connect to those feelings that you actually have language for. So you're describing.
My therapist says I'm very self-aware.
Yeah, well, good, because it like gives you a little bit of leverage in that fantasy, right? But like if a guy is just like, I want to tie somebody up, but he's not letting himself feel those feelings, then it might feel dissociated, or it just feel like a miss. It was like it wasn't very, it's like meh, because you have to feel the connected emotional stuff for that fantasy to really come alive and for it to feel embodied. So it's like trying to help guys know, like, why do you like gangbangs? Why do you like being tied up? Why do you like to kind of really help them like find the emotional piece to it? So then when you do this stuff, you can actually connect to it and have like a transcendent experience, and it moves some of this stuff around.
And if I could piggyback off of what you guys are talking about, one of my fantasies that continuously has come up over the years is release and to be controlled or to be dominated. But it's because in a lot of my work, I tend to be in control and want to like dictate and talk about, like, control the environment and produce, and words that are somebody that's in charge and to take responsibility for all that. So when it comes to sex, often I want to explore the release of all that often. And it's been, but at this point, because I've explored both of them, now I like to explore both of them. I mean, also for years and years, I was the person that was dominated, and I've learned to embrace my daddiness as well. So I think there's a fluidity oftentimes in exploring a lot of these things that you can kind of tap into based on where you're at or who your partner is. That can be kind of exciting.
Totally. And you're embracing that evolutionary journey. So a lot of people don't. Actually, it's really beautiful. You're articulating like a kind of freedom with yourself that a lot of men want, but they don't know how to have. So they might replicate experiences, but they're not necessarily learning how to like really embrace what it is that's becoming in them. You're really following that path.
Well, one of the things that I think is really exciting about your workshop, and workshops like yours in general, or Court Vox's that he does, and many others in your line of work, is that it works with groups, and it works with saying that this is a safe space. And within these number of hours, or often it's a retreat, the walls should be able to come down and you're able to express yourself. Can you talk a little bit about why this is so important now with what's going on, to work with groups, to find those safe spaces that you can actually trust your brother, your partner? I mean, I know in this workshop, we're going to be working with people that we haven't met, but there's going to be that trust that needs to happen.
When you say now, you're speaking to like the sociopolitical.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's crucial because, like, in some ways, I hate to use big generalization phrases, but I'm gonna for a second. It's like we've forgotten how to like trust each other. Like, look at the smartphones, or everything is, even like hookups, everything is mediated by this technology. Hey, you should listen to this song. Hey, are you going to the gym right now? Like, your fucking maps pops up. Hey, you should, and like. It's like, what about the ambiguity or the discomfort of like being in people's field and not knowing? People don't want to, even like you go to a bus stop or whatever, you're immediately like looking at your phone, and it's like, used to, we had to kind of like stand next to people and like, hey, and talk and like be in people's energetic experience, right? So most guys now, it's like hooking up is like, and unless you're into the cruising scene, right? Like the kind of the old school, like lo-fi, like organic. Like, I love cruising because
me too.
Oh my God, I love it. It's so much more comfortable for me just to like, yeah. But anyway,
you too.
What we need right now, I think, is an experience of solidarity, and to like feel like we can trust ourselves. Trust myself and trust that other person, and like to like kind of really fortify those networks of people. Also, if you go to a workshop, like, let's say you go to this workshop or another one, and you meet people there with whom you connect with, I encourage guys, like, y'all should hang out more, have sex with each other. Like, what about asking these people to be like buddies in your life? And I have had guys at workshops meet people like that and be like, hey, we're like hanging out now, we're fuck buddies now. And that was so cool because we got to meet in such a profound way, versus like a crapshoot. And I'm not trying to like just negate the possibility that you're going to find something great on the apps, but it is a kind of a crapshoot, right? You're like looking at pictures and rifling through possibilities that you've imagined based on images. And for me, I love smells. Smell is the thing.
Oh,
So it's so hard because I'll look at a picture and be like, oh, it looks hot, but I don't know. I can't. Do I want to drive across
Does
town?
he
Because I
smell
don't know what
right?
he's going to smell like. Yeah, man, what is he going to smell like? It's such an awkward situation to be like, I don't like the way he smells. I don't. Yeah.
You can just turn right around. That's it. That's your
Absolutely. Well, I want to remind people, I know Kodi has some questions to follow up on, but we are talking to Finn Deerhart, and we're talking about a brand new workshop here. If you happen to find yourself in New York City, or if you live in New York City, Follow the Flame: Using Sexual Fantasy for Personal Growth. I will be there. It is Sunday, April 13th, 9:30 to 4:30. You can go to TAGSPodcast.com and find out more information. We'll put it for those that are watching it live right now. But Kodi, I know you have more questions. Go ahead.
Oh, yes, definitely. I was really curious because I was reading all about this, and I'm in. I want to be there on April 13th. Explain to me about what a core erotic theme is for me.
Okay, so that was first of all, I'm glad you're going to be there. Core erotic themes was made, that whole concept came from Jack Moran. He was a sex therapist. He's not alive anymore bodily, but he is living on in the sex therapy field because it revolutionized how people thought about sex at that time. And so a core erotic theme is like your fantasies will aggregate around specific themes. So maybe you are into, you mentioned public stuff, you like public stuff, right? So there's like some stuff in there maybe about power, but there's also some stuff about being naughty, and I don't know, like
exhibitionism.
Yeah, there's but those come from our root experiences of pain, as I was mentioning earlier. Like, so if I grew up in a way where being naughty was bad and I got lots of trouble for it, one of the ways I might try to subvert that pain is to be like, oh, well, you can't stop me from being naughty, and it makes me feel really powerful actually when I'm naughty, so that might be a core erotic theme, and it is actually for me. I really love naughtiness stuff because I was like beaten with a belt for even talking about sex, so
same.
Yeah. So I mean, you too.
Yeah, you're completely hitting everything on all the cylinders for me. I'm like, this is very eye-opening.
So you get power then. So now, I was powerless when I was a little one, where there's this magical sexual energy and I'm excited about it, and now I'm getting in trouble for it. So you better believe now, as an adult with agency, I'm going to get in trouble and it's going to be fucking fun. That's so that's a theme.
And it circled back to the control thing, which is very embedded in me. So, okay, all right, we're cooking gas over here.
Yeah.
Well, we mentioned that we are live, and Alan, watching us live, says, "What an interesting idea to have people hear your fantasies up front before you even get together. Saves a lot of communication for later." And I know, Finn, you work a lot with shame, and a lot of the shame that we have happened in our lives for years and years that affect our sexuality years later. Can you talk a little bit about shame? And for me personally, what Alan's saying is to be able to share your fantasies. I've been able to do that with my fiance, and for example, I have foot fetish, and that's something that we've explored in our sexual relationship, if I can be really honest about it. And he's allowed me to explore that, and we've gotten really kinky with it, and it's been really fun. But that took a lot for me initially. I didn't say that on day one with Diego because there was too much shame around it. But can you just talk about what Alan's talking about, and maybe a little bit about shame? And I know we'll be exploring about it in the workshop.
Yeah, well, so with Alan is mentioning this piece about saying stuff up front, right? So you kind of have options. Maybe it's not easy to talk about that up front. Maybe it is. But it doesn't. Again, people are very different about that. But even if you do say something up front about your fantasies, it doesn't mean that the person who's hearing it really understands the reason why you want it, right? So let's say I use the gangbang example, right? Yeah. I want to be in a gangbang. Well, you could want to be in a gangbang because deep inside you want to feel like everybody wants you, like you were chosen by many, or you could feel like I'm worthless, and I want everyone to take a piece of me. Right? These are two very different emotional places. So if you just think, oh, gangbang, great, that'll work, it actually may not work. It may not have what you need. So having a little bit more emotional language about it is really important. And that is where it touches shame, right? Because we didn't grow up in a way where people helped us with this stuff. First, a lot of our sexual desire is repressed, and it comes out in these parts, like parts logic is what it's called, right? So like feet, dick, but like it's kind of like operates in these like in these little flashes, or like there's something that really turns you on, and maybe there's a narrative around that. We call it fantasy or whatever. Those little images and flashes are what really bring our bodies alive. And when we had to like hide that when we were little kids, and then our culture is like abysmal about how it talks about sex and helps us out, and we're queer. So there's like all these different layers.
Yeah.
You know,
layers.
Compress. Don't show yourself. Don't show yourself. Don't show yourself. You know, it's like the message, and then you get in a relationship, and you're like, I'm supposed to show my fantasies and turn you on, and I don't know how to do that in my body. You know, and you might be able to do that with someone you don't know a little easier, maybe, because there's some like emotional distance.
Yeah. Wow. Good stuff.
But you work through it in your partnership. So I just want to say to your partnership part, it's so cool, I think, that you did work into that with your partner, because it's integrative, right? It brings that part of you into this like container you're building with him.
Yeah. I mean, the beautiful thing about partnership and being in a relationship is that the walls start to come down, and you get to really become that much more intimate and share some of these fantasies. And I know that we'll be doing that a lot in your workshop, which is really cool. Kodi, did you have another question? If not, I wanted to move. Oh, go ahead.
We can move on, but I was just trying to formulate it, but we can move on. Yeah. Well,
no, formulate.
Because I'm really curious about how this workshop, because we've been talking a lot about couples, and that just got my mind rolling, and how it translates to a romantic relationship.
How does the workshop material translate to me?
Yes. How do the things that come to light from this workshop, how does it translate if you have a partner back at home?
Love that question. And that's like central to my own journey too, because I do have a partner. I would say it's different for everybody, right? But we have like parts of us that really need a sense of autonomy and selfishness, and I'm focusing on me and me alone. Like that is a real dimension of our experience. And so is the part of us that wants like connection and don't let me go and I'll do anything, stay, you know, like there's like we're navigating emotional conflicts with ourselves a lot, right? So a lot of our sexual desires can like feel difficult to bring into a partnership. Now I'm generalizing. It's not always that way.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, it's like, I don't know how to be a foot sub with my partner, but I can, like, it's like, how do you bring this in? Because I also really depend on this person for a sense of emotional stability and for continuity, right? So it's like getting to understand, like, oh, these are parts of me that are kind of split because we all have it. Like, we all have this, like, kind of Madonna horror kind of conditioning around sexuality.
Yeah.
You know, so in a workshop like this, or any kind of like conscious sexual work, is to be like, how do I learn about myself from this, and then confront the parts of me that feel kind of scared to reveal it to my partner? Because ultimately, for me personally, that's what I want, is to be able to feel that kind of power in myself with him. Because it's like, I could do this with someone I don't know, and that's fun, but I really want to do it with him because I don't like feeling like I'm feeling held back in myself, and I want to kind of push into that and grow. But you can't do that if you don't have like experiences where you feel safe and grounded, and like so this kind of workshop spaces will help create that container, and you can take that home with you and be like, oh well, I did some of this stuff with people and they didn't run out of the room laughing at me, so I think I can probably trust a little bit more. And you just kind of do that over time.
That's amazing. I know some people that could really benefit from that.
Love it. We're talking people. Yes, we're talking with Finn Deerhart. And again, the workshop is called Follow the Flame Using Sexual Fantasy for Personal Growth. Sunday, April 13th from 9:30 to 4:30 here in New York City. I will be there. I will post the link on TAGSPodcast.com, and you should check it out. But one of the things I just wanted to, before we bring you into a hot topic, is do you work with couples? And if you do, what does that often look like?
I do work with couples, and I love working with couples, and it often looks like there's different.
Okay. Diego and I are like signing up just for help. No, but for healthy reasons. I think it doesn't always 100%. Have to be a traumatic moment, but
no. Actually, there's a variety. So there's like there are the people that are like, hey, we're stuck. I'm not desiring him anymore. Blah, blah, blah. We have an open relationship and we're having a crisis. Blah blah.
You're right.
there's that stuff. Then there's people that are like, we've been together a long time. We really love each other. We just want to go to the next level. We don't know how to. We're so comfy with each other. We need a little push. There's people that are like, we want to open our relationship. We want some guidance. Or like sometimes I'm doing like an in-person type intensive work with people, and that's kind of a rare situation, but I do that too, where I will take couples and do like a day-long intensive and like do embodied exercises with them. I don't touch, but they touch, and I just kind of facilitate them like they're in a retreat. And that's for people that have done some of the counseling work already and are kind of ready for like, okay, let's get your clothes off and let's kind of play as if you were at a retreat and it's just a private.
I love it. Well, we should mention that this particular April 13th workshop here in New York City, Sexual Fantasy, will be closed off, and it is open. And what I love about it, it is open, as you state in your, it is open to all inclusive, anybody identifying as a man, gay, bi, pan, trans, queer, and hetero fluid, which I think is really amazing. And I love that, the all-inclusiveness of it all. But there will be touching going on in this, but if for those that are concerned about penetration, there will not be. Maybe just tap into that a little bit. And
totally, yeah. I love this question. Like I say that very clearly in events now, and I will make agreements at the beginning because in the beginning when I used to facilitate, I'd be like, we're not penetrating, and then there's like people sucking dicks, and I'm like kind of running around the room being like a mom, being like, take a stick out of your mouth. But it's like,
dick out of your mouth.
The warden.
Yeah, it's more about like managing, like trying to help manage like the safety of the container, the emotional safety, STIs, that kind of stuff. But it is a touch and it is facilitated. So I think it's important for people who are on a spectrum of comfort with how they feel about being touched or touching. So you will not have to do something you don't want to do. You will not have to get naked if you do not want to. There will be a lot of enthusiasm around this. There always is, but it's facilitated. And so people get to kind of like find their groove, and I will, kind of group groups together according to preferences and that kind of stuff. So you're held in a process. It's not a free for all, and it's not something where you're going to go in there and feel like, are people going to choose me, or am I going to get like stuck on the side of the room? Like, I don't like that. And I don't let that happen in my workshops.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, no, that's something that drives me crazy when I see a kind of like container fall apart and like people are doing like the like, ooh, don't touch me, get away from me, and like they're not like helping each other kind of through the experience, and so it is facilitated for that reason.
Well, I love it. I don't know if you have a couple more minutes to stick around for a hot topic, or you gotta go.
Yeah.
If you could, this kind of relates to what we were talking about. A recent article said a Dom top wants to know, can he be a good boy too? And it's basically a story that a Dom top was posting on social media. He's 22, he's bi, he's a versatile top, and he asked the question, can we normalize Dom guys being the good boys sometimes? In other words, he's so used to being the dominant that bottoms are always the good boys, but can we change some of this dialogue is his question. Or are we so built into, if you're a Dom top, you got to just accept that you're the masculine one of it all. And for somebody that always was more the guy that got pounded, I've learned to be so versatile. For me, nowadays I switch roles all the time, and I enjoy it and I love it. And I just think I wish more people could experience that. But what do you say? Can a Dom top be called a good boy as well, or is this not in our vernacular?
I think I honestly, when I take a radical position, and maybe it's not radical to y'all, I don't know, but to a lot of people it is, but I think you need to be a good boy if you're going to be a Dom top. I think they're coordinates of each other. You don't know.
I like how he said "good boy" too.
It got me hot and bothered. Thank you.
The way he said it, you need to be a good boy too.
You have to know, like, it's like you don't know what fast is if you don't go slow, or you don't. It's like you kind of have to. They're coordinates of each other, and to have an authentic piece. The thing is, like, you might borrow a lot of this from your culture and like learn like, oh, Dom men do da 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 da. But to have an authentic experience of dominance, where does that come from? It comes from you like picking apart like what works for you, So if you can play in the subspace and really inhabit that, like embody it, you're gonna really have an authentic kind of dominance. I think that feels to me like there's something unique about it versus like, oh, you learned how to do the thing that dudes do, you know?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Kodi?
There's nothing more than I like. So first of all, if I put it down in the bedroom, because I am a dom top, okay?
Okay. All
And
right.
if I there's nothing I think of that is hotter than if you tell me I'm a good boy after I slayed you. I think that would just make me glow from the inside. So yes, a dom top can be a good boy. I might get the hat.
We're also forgetting about bossy bottoms too, that can actually
There they go.
dictate
I love 'em.
how it's going to go in the situation. And
Wow.
yeah.
And penetration not being a metric of the top or bottom situation either, right? I mean,
That's right.
you know, I've seen that. Sometimes I have seen a woman or a lesbian like fuck the shit out of a guy in a way that's like, I want her. Because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, they're not coming from this place of like, I gotta be a big dude. They're like, you know what, that shit is, you know what, that is not even on the table. I'm just gonna fuck the shit out of you. There's a kind of like
right.
intensity and often I've watched this and been like, wow, okay, so
Wow.
You know how to use a hole, and I'm ready.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Always a pleasure having you on the show, Finn Deerhart. You're one of my favorite people. And the workshop is called Follow the Flame, Using Sexual Fantasy for Personal Growth, happening here in New York City. I will be there Sunday, April 13th from 9:30 to 4:30. We are listing all of the information on TAGSPodcast.com, but you can also go to Finn's personal website, FinnDeerhart.com, FinnDeerhart.com. Did I get it right?
DEE. Yeah, you did.
FinnDeerhart.com.
Yeah.
You can follow him at Finn Deerhart on Instagram. But tell us more information about the workshop that you don't make me put it all in my words.
I think you really hit it. It's gonna be fun. Like, it's gonna be fun. You're gonna learn how to like connect with people. You're gonna learn new skills, embodied skills. You're gonna learn new language. There's a ritual part of it. So like towards the end of it, like you're putting together some of the stuff that you've learned into this like ritual that you're enacting with other people. And I think that it will be transformative in some sort of way. Yeah. So if you're feeling like cold, if you're feeling called, follow that flame.
I love it.
Thank you, Finn.
Yeah.
Thank you, Finn.
Thanks for having me on again. Absolutely. Y'all are fucking awesome. Y'all are awesome. And I love what you're doing in the community.
Thank you. You're one of our favorites for sure, as always. Yeah. We'll list all the information. And thanks, Finn, for jumping on this call. I know you're very busy. And
not too busy. This is
by the way, are you in Bay Area? What part of Bay Area? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I live in Bernal Heights.
Bernal Heights? Oh, you're back in San Francisco. Okay.
Back in San Francisco. Live in Bernal. Yeah.
Love
the
it.
Coyotes and the Ravens up here. You know, such a fucking cool area.
Love it. All right. We'll list all the information and we'll talk soon, Finn. Thanks so much.
All right. Bye, y'all.
All right.
Bye, Finn.
Love it.
Bye.
Nice. Oh my gosh, Kodi. So good. Yes.
So good.
We've got to have you
come to
this. Yes.
We got to go,
all right.
right?
We're getting you there.
We got to figure it out.
We're getting you there. Okay. Well, we have a couple more minutes. Did you want to give some advice or do a hot topic? I will let you decide on the next topic.
Let's do the advice from the Reddit.
Okay. The sauna hookup, correct?
Yes.
Is the one that we're talking about? This one comes from Reddit, and it's called Following Up with the Sauna Hookup. Hooked up with a cute guy at a sauna in a city that we were both visiting. We chatted a lot, enough that I was able to find his Facebook profile in a minute or two this morning. We have several mutual friends and more shared interests, and then we realize, so should I reach out? Not sure how I'd feel in his place if someone found me online or if this is creepy. Wait, did they hook up?
I think they hooked up. I'm pretty sure they
did.
Yeah.
Hooked up. Yeah. No, you're right. They did hook up. I think he did a little bit like what we all do in today's nature is, it was good dick. It was good D. It was, you want more. And maybe you didn't at that moment exchange proper information. I always say a safe bet is ask for somebody's Instagram
Yeah.
It's the safest bet these days, and hopefully they have that. But if you forget to do that, if you did a little bit of deducing and you found it on your own and it happened to be Facebook, just say, hey, we met up the other day. It was really great. Would love to see you again if you're open to it. You don't have to go into details on their Facebook channel. What do you say to it?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that in the moment is probably the best time to do it because you're
Yeah.
there. Yeah, you've just had this wonderful experience of good dick. So I think that they'll be more apt to give it to you then. But if that doesn't happen, if you forget, if you get too lost in the moment, then I say be internet Batman like me because I go on, I can probably find anybody. So I go on and I just look and I just happen to find them. And then you hit them up, and if anything happens, then it happens. But if not, then you need to let it go and make sure that you are okay with either option.
Yeah, it's called the follow through, essentially. It's like, but you're right. It can be so hard to sometimes like, oh, I forgot to do this. I forgot to like check in with this. I forgot to give my card out to that person. But it is one of those things that the easiest thing to do is ask for someone's Instagram, not Facebook today. He did the Facebook route. But hey, just reach out. If you found them, if your sleuthing got you to find him, absolutely, just reach out. I mean, whether or not you get an answer, we can't answer, but I think you're right. Go be ahead of the game. Alan says you usually don't have a pen in the sauna anyway. That's true. And you don't have your phone in the sauna always right away either. So, and sometimes people's handles are a little bit complicated too with the underscores and all. So I get it. And yeah, so don't beat yourself up, but don't beat yourself up for sleuthing around and finding him and reaching out to him, even if it is on Facebook, if people still use that. Okay, well, lastly, we couldn't help but play our favorite game produced by Straight Up Gay Porn, and it asked the question this week, out of these 13 gay porn stars, who took the best photo? And there's this week, I think there's some really delicious ones. They remind us that last week's winner was Nick Floyd. He became the winner of that week. And if you don't know anything about Straight Up Gay Porn, they put these in a box and package it up all neatly. And at the end of the year, they choose a king. Who was the thirst trap king of the year? Well, this week, did you have a favorite, Kodi, and why? It's our job on an audio podcast to vividly describe why we chose the one we chose.
My favorite this week is Renato Shippey. He is laying on a black bed, completely naked. He's got on this beautiful gold chain. He's got all this beautiful tattoos. His hair is coiffed like Superman, and he has the most enormous dick I have seen in such a long time.
What is his name again?
Renato Shippey.
Yeah. Damn it, you picked my favorite.
I did.
But you know what? Mine goes to right below him, my second favorite, Luis Ricote, is, I think, who is very deliciously hairy, and that kind of hair on the chest. He's very brown skinned and got that nice hair. He's got a nipple. Both nipples are ringed out, which I think is really nice. He's got really nice hands. And stop talking to me, Diego, on the left. He's got a really nice stick over here that's uncut, and he's got beautiful feet that are out, and they look like they're ready to be licked. And like I said on the show earlier, I'm into feet. He's got the feet, and I'm going to vote for him right this moment. But are anybody voting for anybody else right now? Well, I vote for, because we encourage you to vote for your favorite. Kodi.
Alan says Sam Ledger. He's got a nice hole. And Dixon dicks for miles this week because Unicorn Horn is also very, very sexy. He's in a bathroom. He's got his full cock out and one arm, and you can see his armpit. So it's just a lot of good, salacious, thirsty pics this week.
And Diego, of the camera here, did you have a favorite? Oh, the same one I picked. Oh, he picks the same one I picked as well. Apparently likes that.
Well, Renato is in the first place. So we have very good taste, Steve.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So fun. We want to thank our very special guest, Finn Deerhart, who is one of our favorites of the show. And like I said, April 13th is the day. If you find yourself in New York or you live in New York, check out Sexual Fantasy, which is the workshop from 9:30 to 4:30 here in New York City. And you can find out all information by going to TAGSPodcast.com, where there's all the information you need. You can always follow my co-host, Kodi Maurice Doggette, on Instagram at Mr. Maurice. But follow him on Blue Sky at the same handle at Mr. Maurice. Follow me on the gram, I am _Stevie, or go to my X or Blue Sky account at Tags Podcast, where you get a preview of my Just for Fans or Only Fans. We mentioned Patreon, where you can support us at patreon.com/tags podcast. But you can also grab a free account where you get behind the scenes content that you won't get anywhere else. And Kodi, in the meantime, continue having hot
Hot
gay
gay
sex.
sex.